Hey, so we have all the praises this week from our appointment on Tuesday. We started by having a growth scan. So our last growth scan was 3 weeks ago, and that's when we found out that Caden was in like the 8th percentile. His kidneys were dilated. He had that like restrictor, reduced flow in his umbilical cord, all of that stuff. So we had another growth scan, and John was able to be with me because he was off work on Tuesday. And we found out a lot of great news. So he was measuring in the 25th percentile instead of the 8th percentile. Anything under 10, they get somewhat concerned about. So that's super good news. It means he's growing. I think he measured at like 3 pounds, 2 ounces. So he's gained like a lot of weight. Go lie down, bud. You're fine. So he's growing. He's doing good. Which is just super exciting news. And then his kidneys were dilated at the last growth scan and they weren't at this one. So that's also really good news. And then the cord flow has been kind of on and off. So that first appointment, it was like in that elevated range. It was at like the 96th percentile. Then it was down at the 88th, the next one. So it was a normal. And then the next one, it was back up at the 96th. And then this past one, it was back in normal again. I think it was at like 91%. Barry's been quiet all morning until I start to videotape, and then he decides that he's gonna throw a fit. So that is awesome. So he's 25th percentile instead of 8th. His kidneys aren't dilated anymore, and his cord flow is back in normal range. So I was having to go in weekly for appointments to check the cord flow. They're letting me not go in this coming Tuesday because he's clearly growing. The cord flow's kind of been on and off, and it was on the last appointment. So I get a week off, which is awesome. Starting at 32 weeks, so I'm 30 right now. Next week would be 31. The following week is 32. I have to start going for weekly appointments anyway to have weekly biophysical profiles, I think, which is where they check a bunch of things. They do a non-stress test. I'm gonna have to do that weekly anyway at 32 weeks. But I get 1 week off, which is awesome. We'll take it. And then the other thing was I officially switched over my care. So I had like an initial visit with the OB there to just like establish like I'm officially here. When I was in Potsdam, I failed my 1 hour and 3 hour glucose test. And so my midwife here had me start tracking. She didn't really explain what I was looking for or anything like that. And so I got to talk with the OB in Vermont about that. And I showed her like my numbers for the week. And she said everything looked so great that she thinks I can start like tracking it like 3 or 4 days a week instead of every day of the week, which is awesome because it means I get to prick myself less because it's like 4 times a day when I am tracking it. So any day that I don't have to worry about that and try and make sure I'm timing it to prick myself at the right time is really exciting. So despite having gestational diabetes, my numbers have been looking great. And that was without really much of a diet change. And yeah, so that was good news too. So Tuesday was a day of a lot of great news. Thank you so much, everyone, for the prayers. God's been so good, and we're just taking it one day at a time. I don't have an appointment this coming week, and then the following week, we're going to have our last fetal echo, just to make sure his heart, like what they've seen in the first 2 echoes, is still what they're seeing. Then after that echo, his next echo will be once he's born, once he's in the NICU. So that's kind of crazy. And then I also have like my first BPP and non-stress test and stuff like that. So I'll get to experience that for the first time. Hopefully he's doing well. But just prayers for his heart, that keeps developing well, and that he keeps growing, and that his cord flow continues to be within normal range. That is what we would ask for prayers for at this point, and just that he keeps cooking as long as possible. Hopefully making it to 37, maybe even past that if his cord flow keeps doing great. But yeah, thank you guys for following along.